So as most of you guys know, I have not sold for, I say over 10 years, it's probably closer to 15, that we haven't sold anything except for our own sons. But as you know, we've done a lot of good business over the years. In fact, we had a 20-year stretch where we were able to do average over 88 homes a year. So that's kind of a fun thing. But the reason I say that is that although we aren't selling right now, Ed and I are immersed in a lot of your transactions, and then also we really always have our eyes open for best practices of what people are doing. And so it's kind of been through our entire career I've done that, but I especially have been watching this last year, trying to see what does it take to deliver 5-star service to buyers and to sellers. So I've been kind of taking from things we did in the past, but also gleaning from what others are doing and thinking, ooh, that's a good thing we should think about doing. So today I'm going to share some really basic things that many of you seasoned agents may think, oh, so basic, duh. And then but it'll also give the new people a place to kind of say, well, this is how a transaction should really flow. But then I do feel that all of you guys will walk away with some ideas that you didn't have before, hopefully, and can enrich your business. So if you really want to shine in today's business as a mega producer, you need to do things differently than what other people are doing. And that's the idea of what I'll talk about here is, like I say, basic things that people do, but also above and beyond. And it's really going to come down to 3 core things. Knowledge. The more knowledge you have, I think the more confident you are, but also the more your clients are trusting you to be their trusted advisor and really commit to you. But then also systems. Again, over the years, every seminar I've gone to that's talked about what it takes to get to the top level, mega producers always have really good systems in place. And one of the cool things that our team has is Ed's Mr. Systems. So there's a lot of great systems in place, but I don't think some of the team even knows they exist and is tapping into them through our share drive. So I will be sharing a lot of those systems as we go through things today. And then also you may come up with ideas of, gee, I want to create a system for that that we'll talk about today, or that you may come up with on your own. But the third thing, not just knowledge and systems, but the third thing that really starts to give 5-star service is keeping intentional about how you're making your clients feel. We get so caught in our own heads as like, doing the busyness of the work, or, with new agents, just thinking, am I doing it right? Or what do I say? What if they ask a question I don't know? We aren't thinking about how we're making our clients feel. And so I'm going to tap into that a lot today too, is how we can go above and beyond and really help our clients feel connected to us, and also just really enjoy the experience of going through one of their biggest emotional transactions that they'll do in their lifetime. So first and foremost, I think everything in our business starts with attitude. Again, top producers really have a way to keep their attitude up. And so like Ed's taught and trained on having that statement of attitude. We've really encouraged all of you guys to write a statement of attitude. But when you're coming to a buyer, I think you want to think about yourself. The attitude that you want to have is that I am not just a real estate agent or a realtor, but I am their real estate consultant, or their real estate advisor, or their representative. And really think that first and foremost for yourself, but then also when you're bringing your skills to them, talk about it in that way so that they look at you as their consultant. And that you're really there to guide and inform them and advise them, and you're going to help them get through a truly exceptional experience going through the transaction. And then the other thing I think that we don't play into as much as we should is that with our clients, we have a fiduciary relationship to them that goes above and beyond what we do to the other people in the transaction. And we need to really sell that and share that with our clients, that we're there to give them a really strong connect to watch out for their best interests. So the little cartoon here is kind of cute, but this is how I think we need to think of ourselves, is that, are you planning a trip? No, this is for our customers. We map their journey to make sure they have a great experience every step along the way. And that's what I like to talk to clients about, is that we're gonna do this journey together, and I'm gonna be there to help and advise them throughout the transaction. So one of the things that we've shared with our team is to put together transactional videos that we can send out to the clients before we have each little interaction, or kind of to let them know next steps. So to show you an example, I wanted to show you one that Doug and Aaron did before they meet with their buyers for the first time.
We're looking forward to our upcoming meeting where we'll be sharing our buyer's presentation with you.
This short presentation takes you through the home buying process, and we use the information from this meeting to help you find the perfect home.
To help customize this program for you, we will also be asking a few simple questions. Of course, we will answer any questions you may have as well. In an effort to keep our clients informed of the next step, we like to use video messages like these to give you a glimpse of the upcoming steps.
These video messages are not a substitution for text messages, emails, phone calls, and personally meeting with you, but rather in addition to. Helping you find your perfect home is exciting to us, and we look forward to walking you through the process.
So we've got a lot of scripts for every different part of the transaction, and then you should personalize it to yourself. I know Doug and Aaron have done these videos now twice because they saw that they wanted to kind of up their game with it, but they're really powerful ways to just help people feel more connected and that you're really a step above the competition, if you will. So one of the big mistakes I see people doing in real estate, and I see this at all different levels, but when a client or a potential client says that they're looking to do something in 6 months or a year instead of, we're ready to go, they'll say, oh great, I'll set you up on a feed, an MLS feed, or gee, I'll diary it that I'll touch back with you in a few months. And I really think that's a huge mistake, because until you meet with somebody face-to-face in the office, especially if these are somewhat cold leads, they're not a referral, but I think at all levels you want to do it. Until you meet with them face-to-face, or when you meet with them face-to-face, you've got a client then. But prior to that, you don't. And so you might say, well, if they're a year off, how do I get them into the office to meet with me? Well, I really stress the fact that, and here's where you want to get into how are you going to help them, make them feel going through the transaction. When somebody's thinking about doing something down the road, they, especially first-time buyers, they don't even know what to expect or how they should be preparing for that year down the road. And why do they think it's a year down the road? It may be sooner than they think, or they may have some bigger hurdles to go over than what they realized. You need to meet with them to help them understand the process, to educate them, and also to help give them that roadmap, that journey that we talked about a minute ago in the cartoon, to lay out their roadmap. And if in fact it's a more seasoned buyer and seller, or buyer in this instance, but maybe they are selling something, they too need to have that meeting to educate them, just because things change so much over the years and the market changes so rapidly. So to invite them in for that type of a consultation. In this, you are going to learn more specifically what they're looking to do. We've heard this said before, buyers are liars. I don't think they really are. I think they share with you what they think they want to do, but until we start asking questions and actually get out there, start showing them property and getting their feedback and listening to what they're saying, we can't really help them get where they need to go, because they don't know what all the different types of products and communities and all are out there. That's our job, to help educate them in that way. But we have to learn more specifically what they're looking for and answer their questions. Until we start sharing information, they don't even know the questions they should have. But once we start sharing like that roadmap of where we're going to go through a buyer consultation, then we can start to share with them. They'll start to have questions and stuff of what they want to do. Now, if you're meeting with them for the consultation early, and they're not going to be doing something down the road, let them know that you'll be updating them when things start to, you get closer to the time. So it's okay to share what the market's doing right now, what properties are out there right now, but that when we do get closer to the time of you doing something, we'll update all that. And then also, you want to be there to give them information early and often. And so keep in touch so you are updating them through the months leading up to them doing something, or if they're ready to go, there's more critical things you'll be giving them at that point too. So two of the biggest mistakes I think that realtors do is not having that meeting early enough. They wait too long to have it, and sometimes those people have already connected with somebody else. Or the other thing is, if they have that meeting, they don't keep in touch. If the person isn't ready to go, they don't keep in touch in the right way and often enough. And part of the reason we do that is nobody wants to be the pushy salesperson. And they feel like if in fact they're in touch, if they keep reaching out and touching out to the person, then they're gonna appear pushy. But the truth of it is, at the point somebody's excited and ready to get going with something, even if it's a way off and it's a little bit of a dream, the fact that you keep touching base with them and giving them more information, they feel that you are taking care of them and you're helping them on this journey at the point they're at right now. And so oftentimes when I would try to get somebody to come into the office, I would say to them, I know that you are not really ready to do something right now, but let's meet and kind of the things I've talked about, share that. And I just want you to know that there's no pressure for you to get going right now. And in fact, our meeting may help you decide that you want to wait longer, or that you're happier staying where you're at, and that's okay too. And so I give them that kind of release valve that they don't have to be ready to go to meet with me, that they can decide even not to go ahead. The other thing I think is really nice to do early on, because again, people are kind of excited and think about how they're feeling, but they don't want to waste your time. That's a typical buyer thing. I don't want to waste your time. But offer to them that you'll do let's go out and do some window shopping, because that helps them get excited about the process and more invested, and they'll appreciate that you took that extra time with them. So ask good questions and be a good listener is one of the really big things we need to do, because I think the reason we come up with the buyers are liars is we don't ask enough. We kind of assume just on the little pieces of information that they give us that this is what they want to do, and yet we aren't really asking the right questions and listening enough to know the truth of where they want to go. Excuse me. So let's get into the consultation. Ed's done a training on the buyer consultation, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk more about the environment and how you make them feel. So first, I think you want to have a really inviting setup when they come in. So to have refreshments for them. We have the fresh baked cookies you can do here. Have a notepad that you have for them. Give them some of your past promotional items. Terry recently came over to dinner at our house, and it was so cute because she brought like a jar opener, which I didn't have one right now, a cute little wine light thing that goes in an empty wine bottle. It's so cute, and an iPhone fan. It's silly. I mean, I know about these promotional items, and yet I appreciated it. So just think, the past little promotional items you have for clients, bring them forth and share them there, just to kind of make it a fun first meeting. Now, the other thing that I think is really an important thing to have is we use these silver bound books for our listing presentations quite frequently on the team, but I think we should also do it for a buyer presentation. It just classes it up and makes it more special for them. And so I want to share a little bit about what would you put in this presentation for a buyer. I'm going to go through this quickly, but I want to say I'm going to share what Nancy's done, and she designed these on Canva and did a really beautiful job. I'm sharing 2 sheets for each presentation here, each slide. But the really cool thing is that a lot of this material that she did, she got right off of, if you go into Cloud CMA for buyers, the information's there, or Breakthrough Broker, the information's there. So it isn't like she created all this. I mean, some of the paragraphs and stuff she wrote, but when you get into the other materials, she just borrowed it from resources that are out there. So she went from the introduction and welcoming them by name to sharing a little bit, some of her reviews, which is really powerful. People are very much into reviews. Then she has her promise to the client and just kind of a statement of what she wants to do with and for them. Then she took this pathway to buying, and this I'm pretty sure was right out of Cloud CMA. But she designed it pretty and made it her own. And by the way, if you create these on Canva, you can then import them into Cloud CMA and have them there and print them directly from there. A lot of people didn't realize you can do custom pages in there. And then she goes on to talk about pre-approval versus pre-qualification, which again is something that most buyers don't really fully understand, and so it gives them a little better explanation. You're going to hear me talk about this, the do's and don'ts for buyers. A lot of times they make big mistakes as they go through qualifying for a loan. They'll all of a sudden start making big purchases and things like that. So we need to educate them on this. So I put it here, but you're going to see I'm going to bring it up again later because they aren't necessarily going to read through all this stuff, and it's an important one. And then the moving checklist, again, right out of Cloud CMA. It's right there. This is another brochure that Verity personalized to herself, and I'm pretty sure this came through Breakthrough Broker, which is an Orange Coast title free thing. They're out there. So when you see things like this that you feel like would be good educational tools for buyers, these are the types of materials you want to have in your presentation book. So I'm gonna not get into the true buyer consultation. Like I say, it's on 805 Academy, Ed's already done it. But I do want to say that when you're having a buyer consult, personalize it to the type of client that you have. So let's say you have a client that you know you're gonna wanna be showing new homes to. Let them know. This is really good that one of our agents put together, that it's 7 reasons that you want to use a real estate agent even when you're buying new construction. Really well put together. And by the way, these slides will all be available to you guys later, and as well as my notes. So it'll all be there, easy for you to copy. But this is really good, and it gives people a good reason to stay connected to you. And the really good thing too is that when people use a licensed realtor like you to buy new, most of the builders, they obviously will pay a commission in the climate that we're in right now. Not all climates in the past have they done that, but they will pay the commission. And sometimes buyers feel like, oh my gosh, well, if you get a commission, then I'm gonna have to pay more for the property. But most sellers, most builders, this comes out of their advertising budget, and it doesn't change the price of the home. And in fact, as one of the features here is, you can help negotiate a little stronger because the sales rep that they're talking to isn't looking out for their best interest. Their fiduciary is to the builder. And so you can help in those ways. So another one that you want to use to personalize presentations is rent versus buy. If you've got a tenant, somebody that has been renting and is looking to buy, that payment is going to scare them. But as we know, there are very good tax advantages to where they could actually be paying more, and it's really gonna even out less or equal at the end of the year, and even more so over the years to come. So again, Orange Coast Title has a really good buy versus rent program. There's other ones out there. One of the ones I really like is to use Legacy Home Loans does, because I really love the graphs that they do. It's I'm a visual person, so this really speaks to me that with this particular buyer, and this was a real one that Tom sent over to me, when they get, their rent is actually gonna be less than what their 30-year fixed payment's going to be. So it's actually less right now, which is amazing to me, but that's the kind of climate that we're in right now. And these guys, what was their down payment? Their down payment was 10%. So with 10% down, with today's low rates, they actually are gonna be paying less per month than what they are in rent right now. And then if you look at it over like a 5-year period, it's huge, the amount more they would have paid in rent versus the 30-year fix. And then when it gets down to the net worth in 15 years, you have no net worth with the renting, and yet here they've built a lot of wealth by paying on their own property. So these are huge things to understand, but also to have good visuals that you can use for your clients, because not everybody is the numbers person, but visuals can play out very well. So I really like this. So the next thing that you want to do is be talking to your client about how you're going to prepare for the offer. And you might think, it's kind of funny to be talking about that big at the listing presentation, but it really isn't, because especially in today's climate, you find the property, you need to move yesterday. But you know, not all markets are like that, but still you need to start again to inform your buyer that we need to have ABC ready to go. So one of the first things that I think are really important, and I know this is very controversial, is whether or not to do a profile letter for your buyer. But I think because of the fair housing laws. But the truth is, every house out there just about now has a Ring doorbell and cameras within. They're getting video of you and hearing everything you're saying anyway. And so why not put a bio letter so you can say what you really want to say to the clients and have them tug at their heartstrings hopefully a little bit. So the profile letter is really good. We have, I'm going to share this a couple times throughout the presentation, but one of the things that we have a server that we go to regularly over at King's, and sadly we didn't get her as a client. She actually, her parents bought out in Temecula, and now she's going to follow and move out to Temecula, and now her in-laws are going to move out to Temecula. So what's really amazing is this client's gotten 6 transactions in 6 months from this little family doing sales and buys. So there's definite power in that. But the reason I bring her up is that she was so impressed. They're having trouble getting a home out in Temecula. They'll get one, but she thought it was so amazing that on the 4th home that they finally put an offer in on, because they haven't gotten the other 3, her agent did a profile letter. And she's like, she's really on top of things. Well, I want to challenge you guys not only to do the profile letter, but this is one that Sammy did a few years ago when the market was a little tough. And
hi, I'm Chris.
I'm Megan. This is Harper, and this is Everly.
I just want to start off by saying,
oh, sorry.
We absolutely love your house. Out of all the ones we've seen, yours by far stood out the most. I absolutely love the craftsmanship and the pride that you guys put into your property. And I would be so grateful if you would choose us at the end of the day to live in your house and
raise our children there.
We grew up in Trico Canyon. We've been high school sweethearts since sophomore year in high school. We've been living in RSM for the last 5 years, but as you can see, our family is now growing, and your house is the perfect fit for us. We've gone to see your house numerous times and brought our friends and family to see it. Thank you for watching our video. I hope you can choose us. We would love to be in your house, and we would take extra great care of it. I hope to hear back from you guys soon. Bye. You do?
I don't know if you can understand. I really want that house, Dad. This is pretty cute. Now, ironically, they didn't get the first house they did this video on, but because it didn't name a property specifically, they sent it out on the 2nd house they put an offer in on. They got that one, and it was very much because of the video. So in these competitive markets, I think we need to go above and beyond, and like you'll have to make your own decisions regarding what the rulings are right now. But right now, I think it's with the Ring doorbells and such. It's like they see who's out there. I've had our son just recently sold his house, and I know he has cameras throughout his house, and he watched every single bit of footage on every buyer that came through that house. He knew every comment they had made, and so it's really. I think a good thing to kind of put a profile out that you want people to see. And so with this, you might think, well, I'm not gonna have time to do it, the letter or the video, but this is where you can talk about the importance of doing this now and getting it ready to go so that when we find that home, we can get that going. So another thing that we have to do is get them to do the proof of funds, and to again let them know at the first consultation that we're going to need to show proof of funds, and if you can be ready to show that from wherever you're going to be getting your funds for the down payment, that would be helpful to have that all in place. Then when you're meeting with them, you're going to set them up on a MLS search of some sort, likely. I don't like to do this until somebody's come in and met with me, so I use that a little bit as the tease also for them to meet with me, because until we really talk, they can give me bedroom, bath, just off the top of their head. But until we really talk, I'm not going to be able to really put together a good profile. And again, going back to the buyers are liars, because we don't get enough right information. And I actually feel like you need to take them out one day, even if it's just window shopping, to kind of see their reaction to different things, different communities, different amenities within a home, and then you can really zero in on that MLS search. Now with MLS search, you can just send it through the MLS, but there's better systems out there that we can use. There's Cloud Streams, which I know they're the one app that actually does text. I think they're the only one that does that right now, but I'm hearing glitchy things about them. So the one I'm hearing the absolute best about is MLS Touch. Does anyone else have feedback as to something else they like better? That's the one I'm really hearing the best about. So I think and it's a really nice platform. They can have it on their phone as an app, and then also be emailed information. So it's very cool. Now, you want to set the stage for making the journey of house looking fun. And I think sometimes we get, especially newer agents, they'll get so nervous working with clients that they're way too serious. But you want to make it fun. Again, it's how you make people feel, not just your knowledge and systems, but how you make them feel. So at this first presentation, I really want to challenge you guys to ask them, say, this is, we're going to start this journey, and I need to know 3 things from you. 1, what is your favorite drink? Number 2, what is your favorite snack? And number 3, what type of music do you like? Because now when you go out to look at property, you can have your car loaded with the snacks and the drinks, and then also have the whatever style music they like softly playing in the background, or playing good if the conversation lags. But I know right now with COVID, we aren't necessarily having clients in our car, but you can still bring the snacks, and when things get back to normal, you can have them in your car and play the music. The other thing that I want to challenge you guys to do is to take a picture of them at this first meeting and let them know that you want to document their journey through pictures. And so this will be the start of the journey, and I'll tie it all together as we finish up at the end. Now at this meeting, I highly recommend setting up, even if they're a ways off, or maybe even especially if they're a ways off from wanting to do something, that you set them up with a meeting with your lender or a lender. But I think that's so important because that helps give them a better comfort level with moving forward, and it may give them some homework that they need to do as well. But I love, again, Legacy Home Loans has a beautiful cost analysis that they do with each buyer. They'll compare different down payments, different loan structures, show how it all plays out, again, very visually. But the nice thing is this gets emailed to the client. They have their own little landing page and such that has all this on it, so they can kind of go back and really absorb what's been shared with them. I think that's powerful, good, and again, sets you apart because most lenders don't have this. So I am giving a little bit of a plug there for Legacy, obviously. But at this meeting, you'll want to get the pre-approval letter, which will also play into having all your information for when you actually do get ready to write an offer. Again, I told you that I will bring this up multiple times, but remember the 10 things not to do when qualifying for a loan. We don't want them to start, spending money that they've set aside for their down payment. You don't want them to start buying a bunch of appliances. Another one that they may not even realize, they don't want to make large deposits into their checking account because those things start to send up red flags that all of a sudden get more complicated trying to qualify for the loan. And then when you finish the appointment and they are getting ready to leave, you want to be sure to set up the next time you're going to meet with them. I never close out an appointment without a next step. Sometimes if they are going to truly wait for a long time to do something, it might be I'll touch back with you in 2 weeks just to say hi or whatever. Other times, if they're more ready to go, it's like, well, let's, or maybe from this whole meeting you say, let's go out and do a little window shopping. Set the time that you're going to go out and do the window shopping, that type of thing. Maybe you've got a new buyer that's new to the area and they need to get kind of educated on even communities, because each one of our communities around here has a different personality. And so if they're saying they just want to live in South County here, that's a big territory. Let's go out one day and just tour the different communities, and I'll show you all the different features and amenities of those communities, and then you can say, I love this, but this one probably isn't me. And it'll start to narrow things down a little bit. That's part of the reason we do our community stay tours as a team, so we can know more intimately the different facilities. And when showing the facilities, don't just drive by and say, there's the lake, or there's the pool. If you can get out, if you can park and overview it and talk about it, that's the best. If you can drive down very close to it, the very best. If you have the association key or whatever to get into some of the facilities, take them in and actually let them look. But just driving by and saying, there's the lake or there's the pool, not the same feel as if you get out and walk the grounds. And share, a little bit about, and each of these communities tend to have very good, they'll have concerts, or they'll have different, taste of the lake. I know we have up at Mission Viejo, things like that take place throughout the year, or, Santa comes to visit. I mean, share these things depending on what age group your clientele is and what would match their life needs. But share those types of things with them as you're overviewing the property. I think agents get a little too quick about that, and it's such an important thing. I mean, people are not just buying a home, they're buying a lifestyle, especially here where we live. So after we've met and done all this, then I will have a little gift delivered to the client. And it's something you can deliver, or you can have delivered. It doesn't have to be this elaborate. This is just a picture I pulled from something that we had sent out. But at any rate, let them know that you're really looking forward to taking them on this journey and excited about the process. Okay, so we've finished the consultation and we're ready now to start showing property. Oh, and the one thing I wanted to mention at this point is how much, and Ed's shared this before, I know, at other trainings. How much is an average commission right now? 15 to 18,000. So how much is a client worth to you?
Multiple commissions. Yes.
Exactly. Going back to Christina, the server, she wasn't just worth, in her price range, her price point was a little lower, but her parents was higher and the in-laws was higher. And there's 2 sales on 6 transactions off that one. So is she worth 15,000? I don't think so. So we need to look at each client as a value way beyond just that transaction, and that's why spending money on a gift, and you're going to see me doing things like that throughout, spending money for the client is one of the best investments you can make. So the showings, one of the things that I think is really good to do, especially for newer agents, I don't think it's as important for those of you that have been in the business for a long time, and right now we really can't do it because of COVID, but pre and post COVID, is to go out and preview properties. Previewing helps you really pick the best ones to show your client. A lot of times, the pictures tell a really sweet story, or the video, but you didn't see the telephone wires that are in just over the fence or something like that. Or the obstruction, you see the view in the one picture, but you don't see this big obstruction over here. So, it's really valuable to go out and preview properties, and so you can choose the best, or be able to talk intelligently as you're approaching the property about what the trade-offs might be. It also allows you to know how to best drive to and from. We've got great mapping programs and all, but there's nothing like driving from property to property and knowing where's the best place to park, because especially if you're showing condos, it can get a little tricky on where to park and what have you. So you take that element of frustration as you're showing a client out of the equation. And then it allows you to kind of preview and see what the amenities, I talked about getting out and touring the grounds and stuff. It allows you to know the amenities of the community that you're going to be showing in. Now, I think one of the best ways and underused ways to work with buyers is to use Cloud CMA for buyers. We think of it for sellers, but they've got a beautiful format for buyers. It comes up this way. It's really easy for them to read. It has all the pictures. You can choose how you want it to print out, but it has the ability to show all the pictures. It has a place for them to write buyer's comments. It will give the schools that are in the area, both public and private. It shares about the restaurants that are in the area. So it gives a lot of detailed information above and beyond just the property information. And that's kind of a cool thing. And again, it starts to set you apart from what other agents are doing. I think Steve does this, but I think it's really quality to have these printed out for both husband and wife, and then to have a clipboard for the clients. Don't you do that? And it gives them the ability then to write their comments very easily. And it's just a real class way to do it. The other thing, remember to have your snacks and waters and that type of thing in the car, and be playing that favorite music. This is where I don't have a checklist for all this stuff, but you might actually have a little showing checklist of what you're gonna do when you go out and show property. Now during the showing, be sure, like I say, to show the amenities of the area, to walk them through. You want to be taking pictures. Remember I said we want to be journaling through pictures? I know Steve's great when people walk out onto the balcony of the lake in the Majorcas. He always says, let's get a picture of you with the lake in the background. Now whether or not they end up buying there, that's still a very cool picture. And so, you know, that type of thing when you're showing property, be taking pictures. And although you want to be very professional, and the things I've talked about here are very professional, have some fun and enjoy the clients. You know, try to tap into what their personality is, and make it kind of a fun journey, if you will. Every so often you run into a client that's just a little hard to connect with, and you're sitting there driving and it's very silent. And it's like, what do we talk about? And I love the little FORD acronym, which you've probably heard, but in case you haven't, is taking the word forward. The F stands for family, so to talk to them about their family. I remember the one that was really hard for me was this husband and wife. They had no kids. They were moving here from out of state, and they both traveled a lot. So quite often I'd be with the husband or the wife in the car, and they just weren't real, he especially was not talkative at all. So, you know, driving between properties could get very quiet. And actually my son has taught me that quiet is okay. You can have moments of silence at times, but being the expressive, chatty person that I am, it was always very uncomfortable for me. But you can ask about, you know, family, even if they don't have kids and stuff. You can ask about extended family, you know, where they're from and that type of thing. The O stands for occupation, so asking them to share a little bit more about their job. And again, he had a very technical, boring job. It was really hard to connect. Asking about their recreation needs, where they like to travel, what they like to do for hobbies, that type of thing. That can kind of generate some conversation. And then the D stands for dreams, which could also be like their goals and that type of thing. That always gives you at least a thing or two to talk about. And if you don't use it with a client, you can use it at parties too. But in the process of being out with clients, be sure you are more interested than interesting. Don't make it about yourself, make it more about them. Not that you don't share a little bit about yourself, that's always good for connecting, but make sure it's like, try and think 80-20 and you'll probably be close to 60-40. We tend to talk about ourselves more than we realize. As you're out with the clients, listen to things they say that might give you ideas for closing gifts. It's really, I think the more you can tap into being a really personalized closing gift. I wish I had a picture of this, but I remember Ines years ago, this was actually on a sale, but the clients had lived in this home for like 25, 30 years, and they had raised their kids there. And you know how the parents always have the cement that was laid and they have the handprints in it and stuff. That was the hardest thing that this guy was gonna be leaving. He goes, that's gonna be so hard to leave. And I know they're probably just gonna take it out someday. So she snuck and took a picture of it, a really good quality picture, and then had it framed, you know, blown up and framed, and presented that to them at the closing. And this guy, who we had actually referred to her, so I knew him well, was a very serious type, kind of analytical type guy. He literally got tears in his eyes and cried. So the more personal you can make it, the better. So be listening. You gotta be listening throughout the transaction for gift ideas. Again, never finish an appointment, showing appointment, without setting a next action. When properties are so rare right now, it might be, you know, we'll be in touch daily. You've got the listing of what's coming, you're getting the listings as fast as I am. Anything you want to see, we got to get right on. I'll be in touch with you. If you go a couple days when you're working with a buyer, you need to reach out even if you haven't set up another showing, because there's nothing to show. You need to be proactive and in touch with people, because realize that with buyers and sellers, they live in dog years. So every 1 minute is like 7. And so every 1 hour is like 7 hours. Every 1 day is like 7 days. And so the longer time goes without connection, they start feeling panicked. So you've been showing property and you finally found the one that you want to make an offer on. Well, with this, knowledge is king. I talked at the beginning how knowledge is so important, systems and how you make people feel. Well, the knowledge of knowing the contract, this is for everybody. I know it's been a high priority on our team that people learn the residential purchase agreement, the RPA, and a new agent can do this. They can read through it over and over again and to where they can paraphrase it. If you have any struggles with that, we've got, again, some videos that have the Ed paraphrasing it. And so you can learn that so you can talk intelligently and answer questions for your clients. This will have them really believe in you as their trusted advisor. You'll also want to understand things like the customary buying costs that are out there for the buyer, so that as you're putting things together, you can talk about this. I know like Ladera Ranch has the HO transfer fee, and that's typically paid by the buyers, but it's also negotiable. You want to let them know that the property inspection, they're likely going to have to pay at the time of the inspection, things like that, so they don't come up and scare or shock them. Again, for newer agents especially, this is a really good printout. I wouldn't give this to a client, but I would learn it as an agent, the loan process, the basic loan process. And understand, and this is important to understand, is the pre-doc and pre-funding conditions that may come up, because those hit differently, and people feel like I met all the conditions and now they have more conditions. Well, that's something agents get shocked at the first time it happens, but we need to prepare our clients for that as well, so these things don't shock them and make them feel frustrated. Now, one of the really cool things that Ed did is he set up a really good little cheat sheet that before you write an offer, if you put these things together, you can excuse your clients to go to a meal of some sort, while you then can sit down and write the offer with your mentor or reach Ed or whatever, just so that you don't have to feel panicked writing your first few offers in front of the client. So this is a really good help, just to know that if you get this information, you can start to structure the offer. But one of the really important things too is that you pick up the phone and call the other agent before you even write the offer. This is one of the biggest things that sets agents apart. I heard Brent talking to you earlier, Kat, that they just had, I think, 25 offers on the property, and he goes, I can't believe the lack of professionalism with so many agents, and like people just aren't even, like they aren't even representing their clients. He goes, only 4 agents of those 25 ever called and talked to us, and wouldn't you know it, those 4 were the best 4 offers. Yeah. It just tracks. And so it's not just after you write the offer, but before you write the offer. And Ed does a whole little training on this on the 805 Academy, but how to get information from the other agent. And it's, you know, and it's really, I'll let you watch it on the 805 Academy, but it really makes a difference to give and get information from the client, from the other agent, and you have to pick up the phone to do that. Then you obviously want to review the comparables with your clients, and market conditions are so important, especially in a market like this, because the comps may not be telling the story of where this property is going to sell. And so be sure that you bring that into consideration when you're talking to your clients. And then you want to write a smart offer and package it well. And so one of the things that I think is really important is to have a good cover note that you put on top of the offer as it goes out. this was really visually pleasing, but it has all the key information there. This is one that somebody sent me, I think it was Nancy on the team sent me the other day, and it was actually from a Redfin agent, but really quality. You can see it's just real cleanly presented. It gives all the key information, talks about the offer, talks a little bit about the agent and their transaction coordinator, and it just really makes you want to work with somebody that's this professional. So just this cover note can set you apart from other offers. Now remember, we talked when you're meeting with the client the first time that you're getting your pre-approval letter, so you should have that all in hand. You'll have talked to them about how to easily access their proof of funds, so hopefully they can pull that together right away so you can send that in with this offer. The buyer profile letter or video you will have either drafted or have ready to go, so you can get it going quickly. And then you want to package everything together in one PDF. I've heard agents get real frustrated when it's all split out, so try to get it all into one PDF, and then use your expert negotiating skills to negotiate for the best outcome here. If in fact you've got somebody that's a little lean on the qualifying side, it would look like, you may want to have your lender actually call and put in a good word with the offer to try and lean things in your direction a little bit that way too. Wouldn't necessarily do that on every transaction, but something that might be a little bit, like I say, lean. And then let the seller's agent know that you've actually, in fact, sent the offer over. I've heard of times where offers sat in junk mail and the agent sold the property, never even knowing that offer existed, because the agent didn't pick up the phone and say, I've sent the offer over. So communication is so critical with the other agent when you're putting together an offer. And then communication is critical with your sellers as well, with your buyers as well, as you're going through the process. And right now it can be a little frustrating for buyers because you may have to put in offers a few different times before you actually get accepted. And like I said earlier, every minute feels like an eternity. So even when you're not hearing something, to put out a phone call to them or a text and just let them know that we are still waiting, nothing's happened yet, or when it does happen, let them know. Now, if in fact you lose out and you've got bad news to deliver, there's a video for that on 805 Academy that Ed did. But there's a really key way to deliver bad news that can be very professional and kind of healing to the client so that they don't feel devastated. So I really suggest you guys get on and watch that. And then also for more information about negotiating offers, Ed's got a really good 805 Academy, I feel like it's the Ed Wright Show, but another really good video on negotiating offers. So once you have good news, now you are on to escrow. And you want to make this a really special, happy time for them. I mean, they just got the home of their dreams. And so one of the first things you want to do is send a celebratory gift. It could be, depending on your clients, it could be a bottle of champagne, it could be balloons, it could be flowers, it could just be anything that just kind of speaks, I'm happy for you. And just to kind of celebrate with them that they got it. Now, the other thing you want to communicate at this point, because one of the biggest criticisms of realtors is that we don't communicate as well with our clients as we could or should. And that's, again, what sets top producers apart. So tell your client that there's going to be multiple people involved in this transaction. You've got the lender, you've got escrow, you've got the title people, you've got the transaction coordinator, both yours and on the other side. You've got inspectors that'll be coming along. And so with this, you are going to be the point of contact, and you're going to be overseeing, not doing everybody's jobs, but you're going to be overseeing everybody to make sure that everything's getting done. So your clients can understand that you are on top of things. One of the things that I think is really good that I talked about earlier is using videos to communicate with your clients throughout the process. And we always, Ed, actually I learned this from Ed, but to always keep your clients informed to the next 3 steps of what's going to happen. You know, you've kind of given the overview of where things are going, but now it's like next 3 steps, because to think about the whole process is overwhelming. And so one of the ways you can do this, in addition to talking to your clients, which I never use the videos to replace that, but also to send them out different videos. So you can congratulate them on their new escrow. Meet my transaction coordinator. Do a little video with your transaction coordinator, introducing them through video so that your clients who will probably never meet your transaction coordinator, now they can actually see what they look like. You could also do it with the loan process. If you get your lender to do, I know Joy on our team had a little exchange with her lender that was excellent. That would be a really good thing to send to your clients. 10 things you should not do during the loan process again, what to expect at the third-party inspection, the walkthrough, what happens when escrow closes, and your escrow is closed, but I will still be here for you. So things like that are all topics that you could do little videos on that you're just kind of sending out periodically to keep in touch throughout the transaction. Now, if you don't do a video to introduce them to your transaction coordinators, you definitely want to introduce them. Don't just have your transaction coordinator do it. I mean, you want to show that you're in charge and overseeing everything, but you've got this team of experts that are working alongside you. Now, talking about using systems, you want to have a nice cover note that goes on top of your transaction so you can have easy access to all the key phone numbers and dates and that type of thing. Then you want to have a checklist that goes through every aspect of the transaction. This is where you definitely want to be putting some of the highlight things that you're going to do to help your clients feel special. Remind yourself to send out this video, remind yourself to send this little gift or whatever, but have those things on your checklist as well so that you don't miss those details, and you can just take the checklist as far as you can every single day in escrow, and also you'll be seeing what is going on with other parties. We use this with our transaction coordinator, and then at the place where people are writing notes, we set it up so you can tell whether it's her notes or my notes, but keeping detailed notes is so critical, especially if there's ever anything that comes, later that might be litigious. Thank God we've never had that happen, but having really good notes has at times kind of helped smooth things and have things run correctly. So really important to have good notes and keep it tracking throughout. Don't just write them at the end. Now, Ed's going to be doing a really good presentation on third-party inspection, but there are really key detailed things you can do here to make it stand out to your client. Again, this is one of those things I'd probably bring a little treat to the third-party inspection just to make it a little bit more fun and festive. And then I also recommend that throughout the transaction that midway through you send a little something to them, because now they're feeling overwhelmed. They've got boxes to pack and all this stuff going on, the loan qualifying and all that. So I love this little saying or tag is packing boxes is no fun, so have some fun by opening one. And I show it here with a little box of Buntinis that you could have delivered, but I've seen people do it with chocolate candies, or a box of chocolates, or a box of cookies, or a box of wine, depending on what your clients might adapt to best. But yeah, just to kind of make it fun. Another thing that you can do here is even have some boxes delivered to them, or have packing tape delivered to them with the boxes. And I looked this up because I think this would be a cool idea. Get packaging tape that's personalized to you and have that delivered. So now when they're packing and unpacking, your name's posted everywhere. and it's a gift to them, so why not? But at any rate, so kind of have some fun with that. Now, towards the end, obviously, you're gonna be doing the final walkthrough. And just to give you an example of another video, I wanna share Michaela's regarding the final walkthrough.
I just wanted to let you know what to expect at our upcoming walkthrough appointment. Every walkthrough is a little bit different, but there are 5 areas I'd like to cover. Number 1, we will inspect any repairs that were done. If we didn't negotiate any repairs to be done, or if there was a credit in lieu of repairs, then this step is not necessary. Number 2, we will discuss important dates, and such as utility transfers, closing date, and also possession date. Number 3, if there are any systems in the home, such as solar, an entertainment system, security systems, the seller should review these with you as the buyer. Then number 4, we will do what I like to call dotting the I's and crossing the T's. We will review where the mailbox is located, the association keys. We will find out where the pool is, check in with the gate guard, and any other questions that you have for the sellers. Now would be at this appointment the time to ask them. So as you can see, the closing date is nearing, and we want to make sure that this is a seamless transition. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
So again, she gave a nice overview, next few steps, what's going to take place. That's the idea with these videos, is to be doing that throughout the transaction. And you might have noticed she stuttered a little. She said, it wasn't perfect, but it was really informative and good, and it was real. And so we don't have to be perfect. I think perfection is one of a realtor's biggest enemies, because we keep trying to get it perfect. And it's like I was talking to Terry earlier, just do it. It's the Nike thing. So Michaela's video, and Ed's going to be doing a full training on the walkthrough. He'll have a walkthrough checklist that he's going to have you. So just like you're preparing them for what the walkthrough is, you'll need to prepare for the walkthrough, and then a detailed list that you'll have all completed for the walkthrough to share with your clients. You'll be sharing, this is just so beautiful, these important dates. This is a great letter that Ed put together for buyers, and it's beautiful because it kind of just gives them what to prepare and think for. Now, the closing. We're getting to the closing finally. Yahoo! With this, you want to, again, make this a celebration. I love how so many of you guys do this, where you have the big key sign and such, and make handing off the keys a really special thing. One of the things that we always did, and yet I don't see many realtors doing this, we never had escrow mail the closing papers. I always said, let me come by and pick them up, and I would deliver them with the keys and closing gift to the clients. Sometimes we might give the keys ahead of time and then bring the closing papers with the gift or what have you. So you kind of have to strategize that out. But I always was the one that delivered their closing papers to them. I just think that's a really key thing to do. And then this is where you deliver that personalized closing gift based on things that you've heard throughout the transaction. And it's also when you tell them that you want to be their realtor for life. And you let them know that you really enjoyed working with them, and that just like they have an accountant or a doctor or a dentist, that you want to be their realtor for life. And you want to be the person that's there to answer any questions that they or their family might have throughout the years. It doesn't mean that they have to be ready to do a transaction. You just want to be there for them. And also to go on and say that, and I really enjoyed working with you guys. You were really special and fun to work with. And I find that most people that are fun and nice to work with have great friends. So if any of your friends ever are looking for a realtor, I'm here for that too. And so it's just being sincere, but putting this out there. Some of you, this may be a retelling of a story, but years ago, we always did this Realtor for Life little speech. And years ago, we had some clients of ours that became really good friends with, after they bought the house through us, they became really good friends with another realtor couple. I mean, these guys bowled in a league together, and they were at each other's house like every week. But when it came time for them to sell, they contacted us. And Ed and I were like, whoa, that's kind of cool. So we did the listing presentation, got paperwork signed, and then I asked, so I know you're really good friends with Rick and Bonnie, just curious how you called us instead of them. And they said, they looked at us kind of a little puzzled, and they go, well, because when we bought this house, 7 years ago, you said that you were our realtors for life. And it's like, whoa, that works. So don't underestimate the power of just letting people know how you really want to be there for them forever. And so as I've gone through this, I've talked about, again, systems that I've shared here, and knowledge that I think you really have to delve in and know things so you can share and be that trusted advisor. And then I've talked a lot about how you help people feel good as they go through the transaction and make it fun and make it a great experience. I love the statement by Maya Angelou that I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And so like one of the ideas that I have heard people do is they'll pay to have a home rekeyed as part of the closing. And I think that's a really nice thing to do. but I don't think it really makes people feel any different. It's like, that's just nice to do, whether they did it or you did it. But if you had pizza delivered to them on moving day, that would make people feel, it's kind of a fun thing. And moving day, I mean, who wants to even think about, preparing food? You can't even do it. And so to show up, and even better is if you deliver it, but pizza and soft drinks and stuff, and bring that by, and just make moving day a little bit more of an event, and that you're still there with them. I think is more of the way you make them feel. So think about that. That is what I'm doing, just doing something to do it, or is it something that's going to stand out as something that makes them feel special and loved by me? Another thing that I think is really powerful good, again, taking a client that you had today and expanding them into being a client that has a lot of referral legs, and so they aren't just worth one transaction, but they've referred others to you, is offering to do a housewarming party. Now this is a little bit of work, but it pays huge dividends. And it doesn't, you can do it as a really low budget or a high budget, it just depends on you how you want to do it. But I'd always offer to send out the invitations if they'll take you up on that, because now you've got access to contact information on your clients. So you can now start marketing to them as well. You can also, at the event, so that you have a reason to be there, offer to take pictures of the event. And everybody that you take a picture of, try and get as many as you can, but now ask them if you can get either their cell phone so you can text it to them, or their email so you can send it to them. But now you're gleaning more information, but you're also sending them something of value. So you send each of those people that you take a picture of. Then, if you have a better budget that you don't, and that didn't cost you anything, by the way, either one of those things, because you can email the invitations and you can, do everything online for the pictures. But if you do have a little budget, then you can actually pay to have refreshments and stuff at the party, which is, more money, obviously. And the thing with the housewarming party is it's not going to happen right away. You need to schedule that for a month or two out. And so it has another reason to get back in touch down the road. And one more thing that you can do with the clients is to ask permission to share a little bio of them with the neighbors. I know people have, on our team lately, have been getting really good leads from around properties that they're selling. They're getting other neighbors that are wanting to buy and sell. This is a really good way to get out there and just, pop by to say, hey, so-and-so just moved in, here's a little bio on them, and also here's a card. If you wouldn't mind writing them a little welcome to the neighborhood card, that would be a really nice way to welcome them. And they actually have, it's called like welcome to the neighborhood. Well, here, like that's the little welcome card. And there's different ones. You can actually find them online, welcome to the neighborhood. And so you could buy a supply of those and hand those out with the little bio. And then, if it's okay with your clients, you could invite some of them to come to the housewarming if you're going to do that as well. So kind of tying all those things together. Now, throughout the transaction, you have been taking pictures, right? And so, and things such as the consultation, the previewing, the showings, writing the offer, offer acceptance, inspections, walkthrough, key delivery, pizza delivery for moving day, the housewarming party. Now you want to combine all these pictures into a video collage and send that off to them as a final little gift to say how much you enjoyed working with them. And again, this would be a little after the transaction, not right at the end. And so you're making these really positive touches right at the end and the week or two after. Also, a week or two after the closing, you want to stop by their house and just make sure everything's okay. And you know what? You have to be prepared to handle some issues sometimes at that point. The garage door isn't quite, operating correctly. You may have to jump in and do that, make some corrections there. Also answering any questions that they might have. I also like to stop by with this little house maintenance list that just is a good reminder now that you're a homeowner. These are things you might want to be sure to do every year on a regular basis. Some of them you do more times throughout the year, but just another little good thing you give them. But the most powerful time to get referral leads is within the month or two after you close a transaction. And it doesn't matter if things went a little awry during the transaction. once you've closed and people are all happy, and then you do all these extra little things at the end, they are going to be talking about you to their friends, and anyone that's thinking about buying or selling is going to want to work with you. So it's really a powerful thing to end on that super positive note, it'll pay dividends, as I say. You're going to create ambassadors for your lifetime with this client. Now, if anybody wants to get the notes for this presentation, just email me. My email's right there. And then this will be posted on 805 Academy. And the other videos I've talked about that Ed's done or is going to be doing, those will all be on 805 Academy as well. So I'd be happy to share this information with you, both my notes and the PowerPoint.